What's up, everyone? Welcome to Cracka, which is comics, reviews, awesome movies, comedy, and anything else I think kicks ass. This is a lovely episode that I've been meaning to show everybody for a while. It's my comic book collection. Somewhat massive. It's not as huge as some comic book collections I've seen, or as valuable, I guess, because I've seen ones that have some really, really old comics, but it's a nice little collection. It's pretty good. I'm proud of it, and it took forever to get to where I am, so you gotta be proud of what you got. Like I said, it's not the greatest or the biggest collection, but it's mine. I love it, and I'm gonna keep collecting until the day I die. As you can see, this is just one of the boxes, which I have covered with some Spider-Man stickers. This was actually from a old card set, and there's a sticker from Target and another one from the Marvel Masterpieces. Figure what the hell, might as well use up the the labels or the wrapping, whatever the hell it was. But moving on, I'm probably going to break this into a lot of parts because, like I said, this is a massive collection, and it's going to take forever. Especially, I'd like to give you a little insight on some of the comics rather than just show you all the covers and say, hey, look what I got. So it's going to be a little bit informative as well. Oh, I said a big word. Moving on, as you can see, like I said, this is a long box. I do have a lot of short boxes, but I have a lot of long boxes for certain ones. The first thing we're going to cover, well, one is I'm just going to go from box to box because it's kind of stupid to try to just do all Spider-Man and stuff like that, but this so happens to be all Spider-Man inside. Mostly Amazing Spider-Man, and then it moves on. So we're going to start with Amazing Spider-Man. One thing you want to do, it's I recommend it. You don't have to do it, but if you want, try to get yourself an Overstreet price guide. This is extremely old. This is from '91, but my mother got it for me, and I love it, so I just kind of use it as reference for stuff. But these things really do help. They will they'll tell you the value of your stuff, what condition it's in, because if you look at it, like I said, this is kind of old and shot. But in the beginning of the pages, or at least for the old ones, they would actually tell you what very fine means. The grading: fine, very fine, fine, near mint, mint, and so on. Which is very cool because it does help out a lot. So if you're really interested in collecting and selling your comics, it's a good thing to get. Moving on, let's get my cracker stuff out of the way. A few things that I have gotten that's not Amazing Spider-Man related. I just figured I'd throw it in there because I haven't had a chance to really put it away. But this was actually a promo for the Amazing Spider-Man to see how it would do. I got this from the New York Comic Con. I got a couple of them, as you can see. And obviously it was good enough to make its own series, because now they have the Avenging Spider-Man #1, which isn't too bad. It's actually a pretty good book. Again, I'm not a grand master of comics. I mean, I do know a lot. I've actually forgotten a lot, so you're gonna have to bear with me on certain things, because a lot of the comics I have in a lot of boxes I haven't read or looked at in quite a long time, which is kind of a shame. It's just that I've been so busy with other things I don't really get as much time to look at stuff as I used to. And as my friends used to say, I've forgotten more about comics than most people will ever know, which is kind of, it's not really entirely true, but it's up there. I mean, I have forgotten a lot about stuff, which kind of sucks because I'm getting old, so I'm forgetting things. But moving on, this is another one I haven't really put away, but it's Stan Lee Meets the Amazing Spider-Man, which I've shown before, but I had it signed by Stan Lee recently at the Philadelphia Comic Con. I just thought it was awesome and thought it pretty cool because it mimics his first Spider-Man appearance. Very cool. And this is another one that's really not. It's like a reprint, an Ace edition. It's the first appearance of the Punisher. It's just one of the things I have, since I really don't have the first appearance of the Punisher yet. I have his reprint, or the Ace edition, the Wizard Ace edition, which is another version of reprints. But anyway, let's move on. Let's open up the box here, and we'll take a look at the lovely craziness. I'll even give you some insights on certain bags and stuff and what to look for. As you can see, my labels are pretty flopsy. I just really haven't gone hardcore and gotten the actual labels. I mean, they have like these plastic dividers, which are really, really cool, and they're worth getting, but they're a little bit on the expensive side. So I just use some, I cut out some paper, and just put a label on it. Hey, what can I tell you? I'm cheap. So we're going to start with Peter Parker, which is volume 1, which obviously they had more than one volume, otherwise I wouldn't have put a 1 in it. But anyway, oh man, very tight box. So I'm actually going to take some of the stuff out because I have to fix it anyway, so no biggie. Alrighty. Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man. Let's see, I got number 17, which had Angel, and I guess some of the champions there. Like I said, a lot of these I can very vaguely remember. I do remember I got this from Bailey's Comics, if that helps. Next up is Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man number 56, which obviously he's fighting Jack-o'-lantern, and this is another one I actually got from Bailey's. See, I can remember the stores, but I can't always remember the actual plot. And obviously here's volume 2, which, like I said, very cheap on labels and stuff like that. But volume 2, another one I got from Bailey's. It's number 1. Actually, it's the redo when they started to do obviously the redos. Moving on. And of course I got, well, as you can see, I've skipped, so I got number 5. Try to get all the stuff in there. Like I said, this is gonna take a long time, so you're gonna have to enjoy all the parts. And as you can see, they're not really complete. But here's number 9, which obviously has to do with Venom. Let's see, and then we got number 13, which has to do with Carnage. Moving on. And number 16. This one I actually remember. This was actually pretty cool. Obviously Venom's fighting Sandman there. It was something to do with the Sinister Six. Can't talk. Sinister Six, there we go. They were trying to recruit Venom, or they didn't want to recruit him or something like that, and Venom actually takes a bite out of the Sandman, which actually apparently kills him for a while. Very interesting. And then, if you can see, I went from number 16 all the way to number 97. And why is that, you might ask? Well, back in the day I was extremely poor, just like now, so I couldn't afford to get everyone I wanted, so it was kind of a pick and choose kind of thing. Let's see, now we're going to move on to Amazing Spider-Man Volume 1. And yes, I am taking these out as I go, because it's just going to be easier than trying to sort through them. Alright, my oldest Spider-Man comic, number 97, well, Amazing Spider-Man anyway, has to do with the Green Goblin, which actually they had a problem with this one. The comic code actually had a problem because it had to do with drugs. It's one of the issues that had to do with drugs, and the comic code didn't want to approve it, so it's one of those ones where it just wasn't approved, apparently. But it is pretty old. It's actually in pretty good condition considering its age. Now, like I was saying before with bags, here's a good example. If you look at this, hang on one second. They do have lots of types of bags. Some give you room, like so, like these. Some they have, which I like now, are the ones that are kind of tough. It's just like there's really no room to move the book around, which is kind of cool. It's a pain in the ass, but it's cool. It's a pain in the ass because it's tough to get the book in and out of the bag, but it's cool because it keeps it from moving around and getting damaged. But as you can see, this one has room, but you can kind of tell, see how it's all kind of like, I'm gonna say baggy, but kind of like a, obviously it's plastic. I'm not gonna sound stupid, but I'm trying to show you the difference. This, as you can see it, it's kind of you can see it in there. Now you don't really hear anything, right? So it's just like a regular bag. Now this bag is what I like to call a show bag. It actually makes the comic look a little nicer for like presentation. As you can hear it, sounds totally different and looks a little flimsy, which it truly is. It is a very flimsy bag, and I probably should change it to the more durable bags, but I figure what the hell, I'll just leave it in there for now. But it does make it look a little nicer in the, I like to call the show-off bags. I really don't know what the actual name for the bag is, probably crap bag, but it's pretty cool. It makes it look nice. Moving on to one that I got from a comic book store I worked at, which was FunQuest. Actually, my mother and father got this for me for my birthday. This is number 102, which is the second appearance of Morbius, which when I was working there, well, before I started working there, it was just one of the comics that my boss Hal actually had above the counter, which is one of his rare, expensive ones, and my mother and father decided to pitch in and get it for me, which back in the day, they paid a fortune. It's kind of another fun, lovely thing is comic books. Again, like a lot of people look at it and they want to say, like, oh, you know, I'm going to make a fortune off comics, stuff like that. You really shouldn't buy them to try to make a fortune, because comics kind of go up and down. I mean, some books that are worth a fortune now are going to be worth absolutely nothing later on, and vice versa with some ones that you think are worth nothing, and then they change. Like this one in particular, it's actually in pretty good shape. I think my parents bought it for $30 back in 1990, which was expensive back then. and it's gone up and down. Like, I've seen this thing go for a couple $100s, I've seen it go for $1,000, and I've also seen it go in this condition that I have it in now for like $20. So it all depends. Like I said, not an expert grader. I'm not really a grading person. I know what to look for. You know, you don't want to look for stuff with bends or you know, ripped pages or whatever. But if you want to get the book just to get the book, then it really doesn't matter what it looks like, because, you know, I do have a couple of comics that are pretty damn old, but they're really shot. I just wanted to have the book and actually say I had it. So it's one of those things. Another little tidbit, like I guess a little information on me collecting. I've been collecting since I was 8 years old, from like 1988. My cousin Eddie actually got me into him. He's my comic guru. He knows everything about comics and still does. So he's kind of the man I always go to if I get stumped on something, or did. I would always be like, yo man, what's this guy about? You know, what should I be looking for? And you know, he would tell me, like, you know, this is what you want, this is what you want to go after, and, you know, try to find this and blah blah blah. But moving on. So I've been around collecting since '88. Wow, it's a long time. Anyway, so as you can see, you'll see my collection. You'll know that I've been collecting for a while. This is actually one of my favorite ones. I got this one from Grasshopper Comics. I was working for the town of East Williston as a landscaper, and I found this comic book store. And I love the Green Goblin. He's pretty much my favorite Marvel villain. Or at least, you know, I guess non-mutant Marvel villain. I just think he's awesome, and this was one of the books I was looking for a long time, and I actually found it there, and the guy gave me a really good price on it. So this is one of my favorite ones. I just thought it was cool. It's actually the first appearance of the second Green Goblin, I believe, which is Harry Osborn, if I'm correct. Like I said, I'm not an expert anymore on this, so my memory is just pretty much shot on some of these things because there's so many of them. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. You can let me know in a comment if you want, you know, which always helps, because I like to learn as much as I can. Moving on, this is another one that's in the kind of the flimsy plastic, but this is number 145 with the Scorpion, obviously. So I'm going to try to show you as much as I can on these. And then I got number 146, which is the continuation of the Scorpion. I'm trying to do my best to show you the stuff. Plus, like I said, new camera. Kind of borrowing it for a little while, so I'm trying to get a lot of good stuff done with the cool new camera as I can. Let's see, number 156, which is the first appearance of Mirage, which is a character they got rid of pretty quick. But I'm a sucker for first appearances. I just love the first appearances. Even if they're crappy characters, I try to grab them. So, as you can see, you'll see it as it goes on, trust me. This one I just thought was cool. It's got Nightcrawler and the Punisher in it. It wasn't too bad of a book. I mean, it didn't have too great of a story, but it was pretty cool. I liked it. As you can see, so what number is that? 162. There we go. And look at that. They got 30 cents back in the day. Oh my god. Well, actually 25 back in the day. You can even get a couple that are 10 back in the day. Now that's old. We got number 171, which has Nova. Which, actually, it was more like a detective story, this one. So if you like detective stories, it's the one to go for. They, Spidey and Nova try to track down a murderer, and they have to use detective work, kind of like Batman. Let's see, number 185. This is when Peter Parker graduates. And I just thought it was cool, because it's one of those, well, it's not really like a milestone, but that's I would put it in there as a milestone. It's like, you know, an important comic to have if you're a Spidey fan. Aha, another first appearance in the flimsy bag. Number 194, which is the first appearance of the Black Cat. Like I said, I'm a sucker for first appearances, so I track down as many as I can. And it's actually not too bad a shape. I try to get the first appearances in best shape I can, but like I said, sometimes I get greedy and I just go after them, even if they're in crappy shape, because I just want to have them. And again, number 212, first appearance of Hydro Man. As you can see, his ass is wet. Just kidding. But moving on. Let's see what we got. Number 217. As you can see, it's, like I said, it's not complete, so it skips around. Which is the first battle between Hydro Man and Sandman, which actually wasn't too bad of a book. It was pretty interesting. And then we got number 218, which is when they collide and they form like this giant goop monster. As you can see, I'm going to give a nice little plug to Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash, because that's where I got it from. I did not get it for $4.99. They're actually kind of cool. They gave it to me a little cheaper. I can't remember how cheap. I think it was like $2, something like that. But they're pretty good. I thought they were going to be expensive, but they really weren't. They had some good selections. Moving on to number 245, which is when the Hobgoblin got unmasked. At least one of them, anyway. There's a lot of Hobgoblins. I believe this was Donovan, like a doctor or something like that. I can't really remember if that's who it was, but I'm pretty sure that's who it was in this one. Like I said, I could be wrong, and I apologize. Like I said, it's a long day, and it's a long box, so doing my best here. This isn't the actual real copy of this, but it's number 252. It's the first time Spider-Man had his black costume in his main comics, I guess, his main titles. And as you can see, it's fake. It's like a reprint. It came with one of the Marvel Legends figures, I believe, or one of the Marvel figures, whichever one. But eventually I've seen this before. It's just I haven't had the cash to pick it up. But what the hell? I got the reprint, so I can read it all I want. Another thing that's actually quite interesting, if you, like I said, I'm going to give you a lot of good tidbits on these some things I actually learned recently, because I'm always learning. But I'll show you on this one, actually, because that would actually help. Number 254, which is basically Spider-Man knocked off like the Hobgoblin's battle van, which had all his like gliders and bombs and stuff like that in there. But again, another one I got from Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash. Give him another free plug. But one of the points I was trying to make is that if you look at the bottom left over here, it's got Spider-Man's face. It's like right down here. Now, if you look at comics today, they actually have. Hang on, I'll show you. Grab an Ultimate Spider-Man. 1 second. If you look at comics today, they actually have barcodes. It says Direct Edition and stuff like that. Now, some old comics, not all of them, but some of them, anyone that had like a Marvel face or a 30th anniversary or 50, whatever it is in the corner, was sold directly to comic book stores. So those are ones that you actually got from comic book stores. Any of the ones, the old ones especially, they had barcodes. They were ones that you actually got from like a 7-Eleven or anywhere that would sell like racked books, like anything, any kind of supermarket or whatever. The fun thing, this is a fun fact, like I said, that I found out recently, is that a lot of the old books, if you can find them in good condition with the barcode rather than the actual like Spider-Man here, they're actually worth a little bit more money than the actual comic book versions, because it's harder to find the old barcode ones in good shape. So that's a nice little fun tidbit. How much rarer they are, I really don't know. I really don't even know 100% if that's true, if they're rarer. That's what I heard in a couple comic conventions, that the people were looking for the barcode, the old barcode. Yeah, can I talk today? The old barcodes instead of the actual Spidey thing. But I actually like these ones. I thought they were cooler with these kind of codes rather than the barcodes. But like I said, something to look forward to, or something to look for if you're gonna go crazy. But not entirely important. Moving on to number 256, which is the first appearance of Puma. Like I said, I get crazy. Love my first appearances. Then we got his second appearance. Dum dum dum. I don't know why I did that, but it just sounded like I needed it. Let's see, number 259, which Spider-Man finally goes back to his red and blue. And obviously a Hobgoblin fights, and they tell you the story about Mary Jane. Interesting. Moving on to number 260, which is a Hobgoblin fight. I just like the cover, thought it was cool. That's another thing, never go by the cover they claim, but a lot of books, I'll be honest, I went by the cover. This one, like I've said before, I found it pretty damn funny, number 262, with the real Spider-Man, I guess. And I kept thinking he was in just looking out a window, but apparently he's in the storeroom, and that dude over there is actually taking a photo of him. Which, never really noticed it until about a week ago. I'm like, oh wow, look at that. But anyway, this actually, no offense to anyone, but it actually kind of sucked a little bit for an issue and a cover, but what can you do? I figured it was just it was a different kind of thing. Number 263, which is the appearance of Spider-Kid. Basically, he was a guy that, a little kid that wanted to be like Dr. Octopus, and then found out that it wasn't good to be a villain, so he kind of switched to Spider-Man and used Dr. Octopus's arms that he made, kind of thing. Weird, but true. Moving on to number 265. This is actually a reprint. Oh, look at that, it even says it on top. There you go. This is a reprint of the first appearance of Silver Sable, I believe. Which, like I said, gotta have my first appearances, even in the reprints. Eventually, I probably will get the real one. Like I said, my collection's always growing, and I'm always looking for stuff, so... whatever. Moving on to number 266, which is a fight between Toad and the Fabulous Frogman. This actually was a pretty good issue. I thought it was funny as hell. It is kind of funny how Toad comes in and tries to be Spider-Man's friend. The whole big thing, I guess, is before he went back to be evil. Moving on. Number 269. This is with Firelord. Very cool cover. Very simple, but I thought it was cool. And number 270. This is when Spider-Man kind of snaps, and he just beats the hell out of Firelord, and basically is on the verge of killing him, and the Avengers obviously show up and try to stop him. And as if you know Spider-Man, you know he won't really kill anybody, so kind of gave you the ending. Number 271. This one I really don't even remember what it was about. Couldn't tell you. So moving on. I'm gonna have to reread all these. Number 276. This is supposed to be when the Hobgoblin actually got unmasked again. But he actually he gets away and no one knows who it is. Woo! Everyone, it's funny because like the Hobgoblin, when I was a kid, when I was reading them, started reading it, it was actually Ned Leeds, and then they found out. Well, you find out later on that actually Ned Leeds was just set up. So it's one of those things, and you'll see that later on. Number 280, which is pretty much the second appearance, I believe, of Silver Sable. I think, I'm not really 100% sure. Like I said, another one I got from Jay and Silent Bob. This one actually has to do with the Sinister Syndicate, which eventually became... I thought it was a cool team it became, but, you know, it's all like second stringers, as you would call them, like the Rhino and Beetle, Hydro Man, Speed Demon. But I always liked them as a group. I thought it was cool. Number 282, Marvel decided to do portrait issues. So this is Spider-Man's portrait one. They actually do have them for every title. X-Men had it, Wolverine had it, and so on and so forth. Moving on. Number 283. Obviously, the Absorbing Man and Titania fight Spidey. That's all you need to know. Number 284. Which, surprisingly, this is in a different kind of a plastic. Very hard, very durable. This is the start of the huge gang war they had that went across a lot of the Spider-Man stuff. Because the Kingpin, I think, got knocked off or something, and everybody wanted to be the new Kingpin, the new crime lord, so everyone was going crazy. But the reason it's in this plastic is, again, I got this at, actually at the comic store I worked at. This was one of the ones they had behind the counter when it was old at the day. Back in the day, it was considered old when I was working there. So I just didn't change much. I, opened it up once, read it, and put it back in. Is it a huge important issue? I'm not 100%, but what the hell? It's in the plastic, and it saves me from putting it in another bag. I'm honest here, folks. I'm honest. Number 285 is continuing the gang war with the Punisher, which is pretty cool. And moving on. Now, this is another one I got from the Fun Quest when I worked there. Actually, it was a birthday present again, so it's not like I bought it. But number 289, where it says the Hobgoblin was revealed to be Ned Leeds, who actually winds up dying in Spider-Man vs. Wolverine book. But everyone kept saying that it was Ned Leeds, but apparently it really wasn't Ned Leeds as the Hobgoblin. He just kind of got it set up. But, it's one of those things. Moving on to number 290. This is actually where Peter Parker asks Mary Jane to marry him. And, spoiler alert, she actually says no. So, what can I tell you? It happens. And moving on. Let's see, what do I have next? Number 294. This is actually the last couple issues of Kraven the Hunter when he was alive. They actually killed him off. He commits suicide. But this is, I don't know if this is the one that he does it, or it's, no, actually the one after it is the one he does it, I think. Anyway. Moving on. Actually, this is where I'm going to stop. But I'm going to show you a little preview, because I don't want to make the video way too long. But, this is what's coming up. Number 298, the McFarlane era. So, see you later.